How to find peace in the midst of chaos. The first thing you need to do is to identify your storm. And that's why we started by asking the question at the beginning of this training, what is your chaos? Identify your storm. What is the storm that you're going through right now? For some of you, the storm may be the teenagers that you're dealing with right now. For some of you, your storm may be trying to have a baby, trying to find the perfect partner you've been seeking for years, attending the single groups, getting all the training. For some of you, your storm may be you're going through an illness, whether it's cancer or something that came up upon you. What is the storm that you're going through? You need to identify your storm. And as a life coach, how we help people to identify the storm that they're going through is to bear in mind that whatever you're facing in life, it falls into a certain category of your life. Which of the 8 life areas below would you say that your storm falls into? Does your storm fall in your finances? You're struggling to make ends meet every day. You live from paycheck to paycheck. You weigh in your head you weigh in debt, weigh in over your head. And you need to find a way to come out of debt. By the way, if that's your situation, I'll invite you to check out my previous training on how to get out of debt. We got some wonderful feedback on that training. Perhaps for some of you, your storm is in your health and fitness area, or in your love and relationship area, or perhaps fun, recreation, and entertainment. You know, some of us, we work so hard and we don't make the time to entertain ourselves. And I can't find a name to that syndrome. Perhaps there's one out there, but you need a break. You need a break. You need to find the time to entertain yourself. Because you know what? You struggle. Why? Because when you take that time off, you feel guilty. You feel guilty to take 2 hours to relax. You feel guilty to go on that walk and not have any work to do. You feel guilty. And that's where your storm is. You need to stop working a bit and find time to entertain yourself. Recreate your mind. For some of you, your storm is in your personal or spiritual life. You're searching spiritually. You're in a battle spiritually. And you feel like you're drowning. You feel like that there's an enemy that's just attacking you. For some of you, your storm may be in your physical environment. There's so much clutter around you. And you don't realize that the reason that you feel so stressed and overwhelmed every day is because of the clutter that's around you. Because you haven't recognized that clutter can impact your well-being. Your home is cluttered. Your kitchen is cluttered. Your dining is cluttered. Your storeroom is cluttered. The basement is cluttered. Your bedroom is cluttered. The wardrobe is cluttered. Now the door is not even closing. What's your clutter? Then you go to work and your desk is cluttered. Your mind is cluttered. For some of you, your storm is in your friends and your family life. There's a rift in your family and it's causing great pressure upon you. Or your storm is in your career or your business. Take some time and identify which of the life areas below your storm lies. Or perhaps you have more than one storm dealing with at the same time. Perhaps you have 5. One is in your finances. One is in your physical environment. One is in your health. And one is in your business. Another in your recreation. Then identify your storms. And then what I want you to do is to prioritize it. Which area of your life do you want to start dealing with first, the top 2? Which Which storm, which chaos is the one that's on your mind most often? It occupies most of the space in your mind throughout the day. Prioritize it. And that's one tip to help you to prioritize it. Which one is essential that you solve or begin to solve right now to make a difference in your life? Prioritize it. Then after you've done so, I want you to write a vision statement for that area of your life. Now, I've heard some persons say that it's very hard to write a vision statement. And I want to give you this tool. Hate to use it, but it works. I want you to imagine that your eulogy is being read right now. And if your eulogy is being read right now, what are some of the things you would like to be said about you? And I'm sure you can come up with some things you'd like to be said about you. That I was present for my children. That I was caring. I was always willing to help. I was loving. I worked hard. I was positive and encouraging to others. I was a figure in society. Write a vision statement for that life area that you've just prioritized, the top two. What would you like to see happen in that area of your life? Then after you've done so, I want you to use the hush model. We're going to say hush to that storm tonight. How do you find peace in the midst of chaos? Step 3, we're going to say hush to the storm. Now we're being real. You're being real. The storm is still there, but remember the bird. While the rain was falling and the lightning was flashing and the waterfall was crashing down, foaming below, the bird was at peace in the midst of that storm. And hush. The first thing I want you to do is have an open heart. Have an open heart. Depending on what you're going through, you have to accept. If, for instance, your storm is in the life area of relationships, you have to accept your own faults and that of others. Sometimes that's very hard for us to do, but none of us are perfect. None of us are perfect. What are some of your faults that perhaps you don't even recognize and others may have identified? And you realize that I can be more forgiving because I have faults too. And you have to be open to good counsel. When you have an open heart, then you're willing to accept good counsel and ponder upon it before you make a decision, so you know if it's good or bad counsel. And give. I have found that when you're going through a storm, if you give, the feeling that you get from giving to others, it takes your mind completely off of what you were going through. I remember one day when we lived in Paris. At that time, we were looking for a home, and that was our storm, finding a home. And then one day we just took someone who was a vagrant, lived on the streets, homeless person who lived on the streets, and we just took them to the supermarket and told them, take what you want and put in the trolley. And the person couldn't believe it. And when we were finished, the feeling that we got from giving to others and making a difference in someone else's life took our mind off of our own storm. So giving helps. You have to have a heart of giving and not wanting anything in return. Then you have to get unstuck. Sometimes we get stuck in that chaos. We get stuck on our problems and we can't see clearly. To do this, you have to be objective. It can be difficult because we're human beings. We tend to be subjective about our own personal situations. But make a deliberate attempt. Remember, I talked about the cost to finding peace in the beginning. You have to seek peace. You have to make that deliberate attempt to unstuck yourself. to be objective, and you do this through self-reflection. Reflect upon yourself. Reflect upon your circumstance. Reflect upon your behavior, your thoughts. What are your usual pattern of thinking? What's your usual pattern of thinking? You usually think negative. Your self-talk, is it usually negative? Your words, are they usually negative? Your perspective on life. Do you usually predict the worst case scenario? Be objective and begin to reflect. And part of becoming unstuck is forgiving. Because depending on the area that your storm is in, if your area is in love and relationships, for example, or family and friends, you may need to forgive and let go. And I want to invite you that regardless of whichever life area your storm is in, you have to use every occasion to grow. Life is all about personal development. I've dedicated all of my life to personal development from since I was a teenager, reading the books, pursuing courses. It's all about personal development. And we never get there. We never get to a point where you say, yes, I've reached. I've won the race and that's it. No, it's a daily walk. Use every occasion to grow. In the midst of that storm, how can you use that occasion to grow? And that's where you find your strength from your story. Find your strength from your story. What is your life story? What is that story that you're going through? Because remember, the chaos that you're going through right now is contributing to your life story. And some of us curse our chaos and our storm. But really and truly, if we had not gone through some of the things that we went through, we would not be who we are today. We would not be strong, disciplined, maybe tolerant, patient. Whatever it is, the characteristics that you have gained, you may not have gained that characteristic today. So find the strength from your story. Whatever you're going through, whichever of your life area, how can you use that situation to become stronger? What lesson can you take out of that you could share with others and make a difference in somebody else's life? What lessons can you take out of it that you can guide somebody else who might be going through the same walk as you? Find the strength from your story and hold fast. Remember, the bird sat in its nest and it held fast. Now, holding fast may mean that you have to practice mindfulness, because your storm won't go away in a day with the snap of a finger. So you want to find that peace in the midst of chaos. So you've got to practice mindfulness. Mindfulness means being more present. How can you be more present? For some of you, you may need to set daily intentions to be more present and fulfill it. Whether it is, okay, twice for today, I'm going to take 5 minutes to meditate. Whether it's, I'm going to sit by the lake and I'm just going to observe the things around me and be grateful for the beautiful flowers, the butterflies, the ducks. Or you need to start journaling. When you're with your family, you need to be more present. Some of us, we're with our family or with our kids and we hear them, but we don't listen. We're not present. And mindfulness can help you to achieve that. And put on gratitude. Have you ever noticed that some of the times, I can relate to it. Some of the times when you may tend to feel down, it's at these moments that you were not grateful or your mind was not on gratitude. Or have you ever noticed that at moments when you begin to feel down and you decide to express appreciation to someone, or decide to express gratitude, or to become more mindful in the moment and be grateful, that feeling goes away? Find peace in the midst of your chaos and be positive on purpose. Remember what I said in the beginning. Society has somehow caused us, because of the news, How often do you turn on the television and it's just negativity on the news? The terrorism, the attacks, the rape, the murder. Shall I continue? The guns, the violence, the knife violence. Shall I continue? And it goes on and on and on. And every now and again, the news will bring up a lovely story. But the dominating theme of the news is the negativity, the child abuse, and it goes on and on. And society has somehow caused us to filter out that negative. And that we subjectively, unconsciously, we're not aware that our perception of our life is focused on that negative. We see the negative aspect, we filter it out. And we do not see the roof over our heads, our cupboards aren't empty, our children are clothed, I have a great job. Or perhaps I don't really love my job, but it's paying my bills, it's taking care of my kids, or it's paying for my degree. My mom is alive, or my dad is alive. My best friend and I are still going after 16 years. Or my business is beginning to flourish, or a certain aspect of my business is beginning to flourish, and we don't see the positivity. Unless it's a big thing. I finally hit my 100K goal. Or I'm getting married. And that's great. But your everyday life, finding peace in the midst of chaos, you have to walk in that peace daily in your everyday life. It's a daily walk. You know, there's this song, One Day at a Time. And for those of you who are believers, you know this song, One Day at a Time. Asking the Lord to help you one day at a time. Well, I love to say one moment at a time. Because we live from moment to moment. Right now, in this moment, you are listening to my training. You're hearing the sound of my voice. You're listening, you're learning, you're being inspired to change. You're taking action thereafter. By the time you switch it off, there's another moment. Maybe that moment you have to go do the chores in the house. You have to take care of the kids. Then after that, there's another moment. And you're moving from moment to moment. And at a particular moment, something may trigger. There's a trigger that you may not be aware of that causes you to get down or depressed. Something someone may have said. A hidden belief. Something you saw on television that triggered. And now you have to make the deliberate attempt to walk in peace. To choose to find peace in the midst of that chaos. How I find calm in the midst of that chaos. So I want to encourage you. For all of you who attended this training live, thank you. For those of you who weren't able to make it and you will be listening to the replay, thank you. Please comment below. I would love to hear your feedback. I'm not doing the training for myself. I'm doing it for you guys. To inspire you all, to help you all in your daily life. So it would be really, really lovely to get your feedback. Tell me how this training has touched you. Tell me one thing that resonated with you. Comment below. I'd love to hear it. Because you can't find peace in the midst of your chaos. And I want to encourage you right now to hop over to my website, www.peaklivingwithmel.com. And we have some lovely resources there. We have a free 5-day training on how to discover the power of limiting beliefs, how to conquer it so you can live the life you want. If you go to our bundle of resources, you can just opt in and you get access to a whole bundle of resources. You get access to a gratitude ebook, a gratitude checklist, a motivational ebook, and lots of a thought management guide. You get access to choose which you want, which relates to you, which speaks to your circumstance. You get access to all of those resources. So hop over to my website. And I want to thank you for watching. And I look forward again to another training. I look forward to hearing from you, getting your feedback. And I want to wish you all the best, that you'll enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you. Bye.